Hello everyone and welcome to video 6 of EVA Foam 101. We're going to be talking about ways that I like to fill in gaps and seams in my EVA foam projects. So after you've glued your pieces together, I just have some test pieces here, you might find that you have some gaps that you need to contend with. So what I like to do always is I like to do a pre-sanding on all my lines just to make sure that if there's any difference between the top and bottom EVA foam that I fix that first. And then I look at where my gaps are and how I need to fill them. So the products that you're gonna need, or the products that I use, I really like this Quick Seal, this DAP Quick Seal Adhesive Caulk. I use it a lot. I think it's super flexible, it cures really fast, and it fills gaps really easy. I will be using gloves with it because it's just easier. I like to scrape it across and make sure it's nice and flat with my finger, but that can get messy. And I will be using my Dremel as well as safety glasses. So first step, do an initial sanding. I'm just gonna go through on a slow setting. Maybe a little bit faster. And this is where you can get off some of that excess glue so it doesn't get in your project. When you're painting it. So this seam looks good. I wouldn't need to fill it. Just making sure that it does have a nice path between pieces. Same thing with this one. The only gap that I see is down here. So I would sand it and then fill in this gap. All right, so now that we did that, we can kind of see that there's maybe a little bit more gaps than we previously thought. All right, so now that that is clear up, and it's where we want it, I'm gonna put on my gloves and I'm gonna use this filler to fill this gap. So I like to dab a little bit out on my finger and then I go through and I just fill in the gaps, just scraping it across. Get more. I don't do a scraping after the fact. I like to go across, fill in the gaps evenly as much as possible. Try and make sure that there's not a lot of excess on the far sides. And then I leave it to dry, just like that. Same thing I would do with this. Sand it. And then I would go through and fill in, putting a little bit on my finger and then scraping it across. Just a quick note, I know some people are like, put as much as you can on. That does mean that it takes longer to dry. Now that does mean that you have more that you can sand off and to work with, but I'd rather put not a lot on the first pass, let it dry and need to put more on because I think it takes, I just want to not have so much filler on it to where it doesn't dry, and then you start sanding it and you realize that down below it is still wet. So that's my process for putting on the filler. Make sure that you keep your cap so you can close it, and it does take quite a bit of time to dry. It dries with at least 2 hours and then you can paint it. I like to leave it overnight if I can to dry. And then I will sand it and then prime my EVA foam. As always, links to my products that I use in this video are down below in the description, and I'm always on the hunt for a better gap filler. So if you have a better gap filler and you're like, you should try this, let me know, because I will find it and I will use it, and I will do a Q&A what I think about it, because I'm always on the lookout for new products that make my life easier as I'm foam smithing. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you liked this tutorial, and comment down below if you want to see more tutorials or a specific tutorial on a specific product. I love to do it. As always, happy making.